Så er frokostpause.
Know my name on the truth.
So if you're ready,
Push it.
Hello. This is Farah. She is a voluntary with our organization, and you teach English. Yes. Czyli dla polskojęzycznych naszych słuchaczy, nasza fundacja też współpracuje z taką większą organizacją, która ściąga do Polski wolontariuszy z całego świata. Znaczy właściwie organizuje pracę wolontariacką dla chętnych w różnych miejscach i do nas również przyjeżdżają wolontariusze z zagranicy. I dzięki temu mamy kontakt z native speakerami, a właściwie po prostu z osobami, które nie mówią po polsku, co jeśli się wytworzy relacja między dzieciakami a tymi wolontariuszami, daje ogromną motywację do tego, żeby się nauczyć porozumiewać po angielsku.
Ale powiedziałeś, że jest jakaś organizacja, nie powiem matka, ale no jest jakaś sieć tego rodzaju, nie wiem, czy szkół i wy jesteście...
Możemy lecieć, tak?
Station 16.
Emilie Lønneberget, han jo den faktiske.
Ken ik één Turks jongetje?
Because I just forget. Getting a bit sleepy? Are you becoming a bit somnambulistic? Well, you know that this show and not yesterday's show, but normally the Friday and the Saturday night shows get put up the internet as a podcast. Oh, I think you'll love it. Yes, we put them up the internet as a podcast on which they stay there forever, unlike the catch-ups, which disappear inside of a week. But because the idea is to be amusing, they go up the internet on either Global Player or the new LBC app, both of which are free, both of which are on your app store now. And the thing to ask for is Nick Abbott, The Whole Show Podcast. That's what to keep in mind. Nick Abbott, The Whole Show Podcast. And the idea is we take the news and most of the ads out. Mostly. Which means it takes less time to listen to, which will give you more time to screw that up, to put shoes on birds' feet. Wish I hadn't bothered now. It's 11:30 on LBC, the news headlines with Tim Daly.
Israeli officials are claiming at least 14 people have been injured by Iranian airstrikes tonight. They say one person is critically ill after attacks on Western Galilee. Israeli media is saying the country's military has attacked Yemen recently as part of attempts to kill a senior Houthi figure. The Iranian-backed group has carried out more than 100 attacks on ships in the Red Sea since November 2023. And the Prime Minister has defended Canada as independent and sovereign following Donald Trump's repeated calls for it to become a part of the USA. He's made the comments in Ottawa, where talks on trade and security are being held. LBC weather, more rain for Scotland overnight, but dry and clear for the rest of the country. There will be cloud forming in the west towards dawn. We'll see a low of 11 degrees.
This is LBC.
Think of a breakfast muffin with sausage and egg. Yep, that's the one. You can see it, can't you? Deep in your mind. Sausage, egg, cheese, muffin. I don't even need to say its name, do I? Breakfast done properly. Served until 11 a.m.
Next time you walk their dog or feed their cat, when you pop by for a cuppa or just stop for a chat, tell your friends about pension credit. They could be missing out on an average of over £4,000 per year to boost their pension income. Pension credit also unlocks other support like help with heating costs, council tax, and a free TV licence for people over 75. Tell them to search for pension credit on gov.uk. Pension credit. Credit where credit's due. Eligibility criteria apply.
Holland & Barrett's biggest ever sale is here. Today only, we've over 1,000 wellness favourites at unbeatable prices. Find them cheaper at one of our competitors and we'll refund the difference. Don't miss the Holland & Barrett Wellness Day sale. For T's and C's and a list of competitors, see hollandandbarrett.co.uk.
At Lidl, you can save like a hero by switching from Asda to Lidl and saving a super £23 on this week's big shop at lidl.co.uk/usave. Save like a hero on your weekly staples, your fresh five a day and big brands. Lidl, Retail Industry Awards Supermarket of the Year. Prices check 9th of the 6th, 25. Asda also sell other products. See online for more details.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
What number are you calling from?
I am calling from 0345 6060 973. Michael says, think the knighting of that great community leader Sadiq Khan shows our honours system is still totally relevant. Well done. I mean, these days you just don't know, but I'm assuming you're being sarcastic. I mean, I've got no idea. Claudia in Brazil says, my dog once ate its own vomit and he used to eat pigeons. Do you think there's any link there? I'd rather not think about it at all. Thanks, Claudia. And Ahmed says, Farage boasts to have 1.3 million followers on TikTok. How many how many of those have been kicked in the head by a horse?
I'm immensely grateful to you for what you've done in British culture as well, actually. I used to be an I believed that staying in the European Union was the best thing for us. And then something happened, and something monumental happened, and it completely changed my opinion on the whole situation.
What was that monumental thing?
I was kicked in the head by a horse.
Right, very good. Okay, fine. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's have Camden. Hello, Tom. Tom? Is there anybody? Ah, there you are, just in time.
Many thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I just thought I'd pick up on a kind of a comment that you made about 20 minutes ago about having taken piano lessons as a child and making it, and now in later life passing pianos in stations and wishing that you'd be able to jump on the instrument and play either Spanish tunes, kind of
anything
really. And I just thought I'd relay my experience and specific points to a general. So my experience is that I'm just about to retire. I've always been passionate about music, but like a lot of people, had a kind of a passion which I wasn't really able to pursue for time, money reasons. Yeah. We all have to do something sensible with our lives. But I've been a kind of a coiled spring for a very long time, and about 7 years I just thought to myself, just do it, just do it. And I started devoting all of the free time that I have to initially playing the piano, learning the piano, and then I branched out to the cello, the flute, the saxophone, the clarinet, the classical guitar, and also the tabla, which are kind of some quite intricate percussion instruments from the Indian subcontinent. And I'm just absolutely loving it. And I suppose the realisation that I've had really is, in general, learning any skill is difficult, and you go through this kind of psychological cycle. If you work with a kind of a teacher that's good, who really don't know the skill or the material well, then what they will do is they will create material in accordance with what your needs are. So they will continually present you with material which is just out of reach, and it, you'll experience this frustration. And then you'll practice, and at some point you'll reach a tipping point where you begin to experience some degree of fluency or facility.
You'll have a breakthrough.
Absolutely. And then getting into piano music, there's some beautiful music out there for the piano of all sorts of different genres. And there comes a point when you develop that fluency, and then playing the pieces or playing the arpeggios or the scales or whatever else just becomes a compulsion, because you realise the beauty of the music or the skill
was a bit difficult to sort of get them moving in the right way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but again, I mean, I suppose playing a musical instrument, you know, there are three basic things you have to do in any practice session. The first is just general technical exercises to improve dexterity, and that goes for any instrument. The second is kind of scales and arpeggios, which is just a general musical thing, and then you kind of move on to kind of pieces of a particular difficulty level.
So have you ever done that? Have you ever walked into a room with where a piano is and just taken it upon yourself to sit down and start playing?
Oh yeah, very much so. In fact, to be honest, before I first started having lessons, formal lessons, I used to do that a lot. And to be honest, I think that improved my general musicianship, because the technical exercises and reading music, that's all secondary. What is primary is actually just general musicianship. So your ear, your ability to hear what other musicians are playing, what you yourself are playing, and to grasp the emotional experience for the audience. The music just serves.
And how long did it take between when you started and when you felt confident enough to sit down in a room full of where other people were and start playing?
Oh, well, let's think. So the kind of the repertoire for most instruments begins at around about grade 5, grade 6. Most people will be aware that, you know, you've got the initial grade and you've got grade 1 and it runs up to grade 8. There are grades beyond that.
Yeah, but how long does it take?
So in my case, I was able to do a grade every 6 or 7 months, and it was by the time I got to about grade 6.
Is that a yellow one? Skills like what you did, or learning a new language or stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. It kind of improves your confidence. It has, you know, great benefits from the point of view cognition. Music specifically is often cited as being one of the only activities which exercises all of the major functions of the brain. Yeah. Right? But that's not to decry any other pursuits that people might be interested in.
Like watching television, for instance. I'm an expert in watching television. It didn't take me any time at all.
It depends what you watch.
I'm a natural.
And the conversations that ensue from what you watch as well. But I think the general message that I want to give to listeners is, look, it's never too late.
APR. Discover more at Hyundai.co.uk. Ends 30th of June 25. Finance subject to status. Hyundai Motor UK Limited is a credit broker, not a lender. Terms apply.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
And I like him. He's a good man. He's not a racist. I can tell you that. He's a good person.
Thanks, Donny. You like me even though I'm not a racist. You're the best. Steph texts, Melania is not going to Donald Trump's birthday party. She super glued her hat on tight. She just can't get out the door. Melania, your hat's too wide. Your husband can't get his kissy lips anywhere near you.
I don't care.
She's not that bothered. Holy lake. Nora.
Hi, Nick. I've been waiting such a long time.
Yeah, sorry.
I've been doodling on my pad.
That's a little bit too much information.
It looks like David.
You've been doodling David Beckham?
No, do his arm. Looks like
Your doodle looks like part of his skin.
David Beckham. I've got his name. Anyway, right, I just wanted a couple of things. One, James O'Brien said some nice things about you this week. Did you hear?
No.
He said he was a karate kid. He was talking about your bingo card. And that you're Mr. I just forget the guy's name. Mr. McGoshi, Mr. Magooji.
Mr. Magoo.
No, he was business flattering. He was complimentary. No, Mr. What you call Mr. Karate Kid mentor?
I've never seen the Karate Kid. I mean, I know what it is, but I've never seen it.
There was an old guy that taught him. And he was, and he's the young, grasshopper.
Well, that's not even remotely true. And he couldn't learn anything from me, but the other way around is much more accurate. But anyway.
Richard also false not a Stevie one.
Okay. It's not false.
So the other thing was the reform. There's a guy on Tom. God, I'm named again. Anyway, the guy was on a forum call.
Yes.
And he had a few reform people on for some reason. And he's speaking all about the £20,000 tax threshold. And I think people think they're going to get £20,000. I don't know what, honestly, because when you actually work it out, you already get £12,000.
Yeah, it's almost nothing.
So it's 20% of 8,000, which is 1,600 a year. And the guy who came on after one of the callers was saying, "Oh yeah, that's going to really attract people to the vote and all this." And this guy said he was on the next tax bracket, so he must be on at least 50,000. So therefore, it's like 3% of rise to him, and that wouldn't even cover the private medical bill.
Here's the
whole ambulance.
Yeah, well, exactly right. Here's the trick that your average con artist in the street will play. They'll wave their hand in front of you and detract you from the fact that they're picking your pocket with their other hand. Another way of thinking about it is that they will take £10 from you, give you £1 back, and then tell you to concentrate on the pound. Hey, you're £1 up. No, but what about the £10 you've taken from me? I mean, they're funded by more or less the same people. They're more or less the same people as Trump. I mean, the people around Trump and the people around Reform are kind of the same. I mean, they're the same. They're of the same mindset, and much of the money people are the same as well. And so you just have to look what Donald Trump is doing to find out what Reform would do were they given power. And what Donald Trump's just done is this big, beautiful bill. I've got the, well, I don't think it's enough, so I just remember off the top of my head. It's his big, beautiful bill is taking money from the poorest 90% of Americans and giving it to the richest 10%. And that is precisely what would happen in this country.
It's already happened. They borrowed all the trillions of debt and more billionaires. That just says it all, doesn't it?
It's to give, and just before the next election, if America does have a next election, Donald Trump will send out a check with his name on it, probably his face on it as well, from the American government to everybody in the land, and it will be, here's $1,000 from your favourite president, and they will hold that, and that is something physical that they can hold and see. What they can't hold and see is all of the benefits that they used to rely on have been taken away from them. So in that example that I concentrate on the pound, not the £10 that they've taken.
And it will work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it will.
One more thing. Did you ever get your handle on the Starmer impression? I'm a big fan of Starmer, by the way, so I wouldn't disparage him. But I was listening to him in Parliament the other day, question time, and he does sound a little bit like a Dalek.
Yes, he has that
You know
sort
when
of
the Dalek
nasally.
starts to get angry, and it sort of gets faster and faster. So you'd use that as a hook.
Yes. Well, I haven't actually tried. I've been slacking, but I will give it my best effort. How's that sound?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Nora. Appreciate it. Thank you. What a cooperative caller. Thanks, Nora. 0345 6060 973. Sorry about the long wait, but at least you didn't complain. Well, that didn't work. Why didn't that work?
Whinging
oh, there it is.
and whining and moaning.
Yeah. Thanks, Nige. You're the best. 0345 6060 973. Let's see. It's the West Midlands. Arrange it.
Hi, Nick. You okay, mate?
Yes, good, thanks.
Yeah, right. I've lost my track of thought. First thing is, you know your bingo card, yeah?
Yes.
I think it's pretty much full now. You know, you need to start crossing the things off.
Well,
Yeah.
from the top. Actually, I'll go from the bottom up. State of emergency will be called, and there will be no elections. I think that's why he keeps saying the word insurgency. You know, calling three people who were shouting at ICE agents on a corner, and it's an invasion, it's an attack, it's an insurgency. They will bring a plane down carrying, not shoot it down, but he will order it to land, who is bringing somebody who is one of his enemies over America to go somewhere else. He will force a plane to land in order to take somebody off that he doesn't like. He'll have his face on money. This one is probably not going to happen, but he wants it. He'll have his face on Mount Rushmore. He'll have an airport named after him. He will order that all government buildings are made in classical Roman style, and that's already happened. He will call out degenerate art, and I'm not sure he's used that word, because that's the buzzword right there. That's that is degenerate, and once you hear that word, then warning, time's up. He'll have portraits of himself posted in all school buildings and government buildings, stay in office after the full term, show executions on national television. And my money's on the kid who shot the health executive. He'll arrest and convict citizens without trial. That's happened. He'll enrich individuals and companies that have given him money. That's happened. He'll fire professors who teach the truth. That's happened. He'll shut at least one newspaper. He's trying that. Close down TV outlets that make fun of him. He's trying that too. Arrest comedians who mock him while he's suing them, or has sued in the past. Close down news sites that tell the truth. Yep, doing that. He'll arrest journalists. Done. Arrest judges. Done. Appear on stage in military uniform. Well, we don't know how he's going to see the passing parade today. It might be a little bit too early for him to appear in military uniform, but that is what he wants to happen. I betcha. He'll have a military parade in his honour. That was one of the first ones I put on here. And he'll have the army or the police shoot into crowds of protesters. That was the first one that went on.
That's done now. That one's definitely done because he'd be shooting rubber bullets, Okay. And the thing is, I got invited to join your fan club on Facebook, and there's a picture of Donald Trump, right, with all the little toys that you get from certain burger joints, as medals put on his...
I saw that, yes.
Yeah, it's really funny.
I mean, I didn't see it on... and I'm not quite sure what you're referring to, my fan club, but I've seen that picture. That was on social media today, him with his Happy Meal medals,
that reminds me, last week I said, right, that I was going to have a double or a bet that Nigel Farage will not be Prime Minister this time round, and the next time, then somebody sent you a message and says, if Ranjit's still listening, he wants to take me up on it, You know what, bring it on, man. This guy says he will have double fish and chips or something. I can't remember what he said. But because by the time he phoned up or said I'd had a few drinks, but I did send a text message. Right. But anyway, Nigel Farage, he will not be Prime Minister. You know, during the week I phoned in and I spoke to Mal Stride, and I asked him, I said, which one of
Is it out of Nigel Farage and Richard Tice, which one of them is more of a statesman, right?
Well, what do you mean by statesman?
You know, like Nigel Farage just goes on about, because I've been watching them a bit more, you know, scrutinising them.
Yeah.
Richard Tyson seems to come as more of a statesman,
Oh,
right? He thinks about what... No, add the two. Look, listen, there's Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, right? He seems to come just slightly... Because all Farage does is, right, I mean, like he's talking about that air crash this week, yeah? And you could tell it was all crocodile things, and he wanted to just be part of it.
I didn't see it, but the difference between the two is that Nigel Farage has magnetism. Whatever you might think about the man, he can hold an audience, and he is good television. Tice, on the other hand, is neither of those two things. He's just plain annoying. And I sort of recoil every time he comes on my set because I know that he's never going to shut up. And he just talks over everybody. He cannot stop talking over people. It's absolutely infuriating. I mean, doing a talk show when you talk over somebody, that's one thing. But if you're on a panel with other people who might want to interject every now and again, I mean, he does the Trump thing. He just fills the air with noise, which means that only he speaks.
Yeah. See, when he was talking about Rachel Reed's statement, the other day, right, for some reason, I don't know what he was playing at, and I was listening to what he was saying. He was praising her, right, saying, well, you know, according to business, I think she's doing the right thing. And I'm thinking,
really?
you know, like...
Are you sure?
He was, yeah. He was kind of agreeing a little bits here and there. I don't know if he's sending out the feelers that, you know, they aren't going to have anything to do with the Tories because that can be Bedinock. Yeah?
He wants to kiss up to the Labour Party so that they can share power next time around. Oh, please.
No, I'm just thinking, you know, is he kind of flirting? It's not going to happen. I think the most likely outcome on the next general election, in my opinion, right, is going to be either Labour win by a slim majority or a Liberal and Labour
that's probably,
coalition.
Yeah, that's probably about right, yeah.
I think so, because these two are going to kill each other off, right? But if that other... I forgot, is somebody in Leeds, I think it was, that says he wants to step in. Because I'm prepared to bet a good slap-up meal, right, that Farage has finished, because he's like my age.
Well, let me ask you a question about this, Ranjit. This slap-up meal, is that one that you're going to cook, or... Because I want full information before I make a decision one way or the other.
you.
I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio, making a picture again.
Yeah, it's a radio show, dear. Zenga texts, how could you denigrate pigeons? They won us the First World War. Pigeons are noble. I thought it was Donald Trump that won us the First World War. I mean, that's what he's been saying lately. I won all the wars. Everybody says, people come to me, they say, sir, you won all the wars. I say, thank you. Yeah, pigeons are noble. They won us the First World War. Not even Dick Dastardly and Muttley could take down a pigeon. Mike says they'll fly Air Force One into that by a bang up-to-date TV reference there, kids. Dick Dastardly and Muttley. Look it up. Mike says they'll fly Air Force One into Prestwick near Ayr. I hope Donald enjoys the rain. No, he doesn't. No, he does not enjoy the rain. And he doesn't know how to work an umbrella either. Courtney. Hi, Malcolm.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Hey, it's great for the American Army because it's literally an historic sort of a procession, which I don't think is what Donald Trump was looking for. I think he was looking for, the Pyongyang red scooter type.
Well, he wants to see missiles go by, doesn't he?
But I tell you, Barbara summed it up, and she sang a song about it. Don't rain on my parade.
Yeah. Is it raining? Is it raining now?
It's pouring down now. It's just started pouring down.
Is it?
And yeah, they brought it forward 20 minutes. And now you got all these guys in the tanks with multi-million pounds of equipment.
I think a tank should be able to survive a rainstorm. I mean, I don't know much about the military, but that would be my expectation.
No, but the ones that have got loads of electronics on the top of them.
Right.
But Trump is behind sort of a 15-foot tall busted-proof glass.
Yes.
Melania is not looking happy. He's got a headset. The leader of the American military sat next to him, and they're not looking a happy bunch, I can tell you.
What did Trump show up in?
I don't know. Well, I think it's only over the road from the White House, so he may walk it.
No. I mean, what's he wearing? His usual attire.
Blue suit, red tie.
Right. Okay. Right.
Yeah, but there's a flyover which I thought was a bit ironic. Remember from Black Hawk Down?
Yes.
The crashed Black Hawk Down. Mm-hmm. About 6 of them went over, and that's about the extent of the flyby.
Oh.
Because
poor Donny.
The F-35s, and all them, they've been called off because they can't fly in Israel.
They melt in the rain. Yeah.
But the real reason I rang was that was just a bit of commentary, and I mean, for the military, this is brilliant. It's just a shame it's in my humble view, that it's with this leader, with what he's doing, and what happened in America this morning with the poor politicians shot. So it does seem a little bit distasteful. But for the military, they say it is. I mean, he says it's a military event, but
Yeah, but it's the first time they've ever had that military event like that in history, in 250 years, as far as I'm aware, and it happily coincides with Adolf Hitler's birthday, so that's the reason why they're having it.
But the thing is, the same thing applies. The American military has always said, we don't do parades, we don't need to, we are the American military.
We're the biggest fighting force in the world, we don't need to boast.
But on this day, look, in almost every major city in America, they're holding no king.
Not my, no, exactly right, yeah, no king or not my king, something like that. No, not my king is on our parade. No king is in America.
They're saying no king parade, no king protest.
Yeah.
But the reason I went up was a few weeks ago, I was not disparaging, but venting my frustration about Starmer and his you summed it up pretty much with the what do you call it?
Timidity.
Yeah. No, the public relations, PR.
Right.
I tell you what, I think it's dawning on Starmer that a trade deal and this big trip that Trump will be doing 2
it took him a while, crying out loud,
Well-
to actually get some backbone to say that.
Well, to be honest, it's come out quite strongly. Did you not think over events in the Middle East last week or so?
Strongly is a word that covers a lot of ground. Depends.
Yeah, but
Is that positive or negative? Depends on where you sit, I suppose.
I think he's coming more in line with world opinion, because I don't want to comment on Israel. I don't want to comment on the Palestinians. It is what everybody just wants the whole situation over. But I think
and yet you are commenting. Isn't that curious?
No.
You can't help yourself.
The effect of the last week on Stan, I think. I think he's going to be a little bit of a changed man over the coming months and years.
Well, that would be refreshing. Yes, let's get some get some grit and just try to wipe our memories of what has happened so far since the general election, and start again. People can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, that's it from me, mate.
Okay, good work. Thanks a lot, Malcolm. 0345 6060. What was that noise? What was that noise? It wasn't me. I mean, I don't make noises like that. And neither was it my phone, as a matter of fact. Did you hear that? Very strange. Curious. I mean, there could be an entity in here. This anonymous text says, you're wrong about pigeons. They are only in cities because humans abandoned them when the age of the telephone occurred. Before then, they were useful to us as communication tools, so we kept them and fed them because they have no survival instincts. They depend on us. Stupid birds. Is any of that true? I mean, what did they do before we used them as telephones? Before we found... and who first thought that one? I'll tie a yellow ribbon around the old pigeon's leg and then throw it into the air, and then it will take that message to somewhere I have in mind. I mean, how did they tell it to do that, by the way? Don't tell me. I'm really not that interested, but, somebody should be looking into it very strongly. Jane says, I just picked up an oyster catcher on my Merlin bird app in the middle of Dartmoor. You think it was blown in by the storm last night? What's an oyster catcher? I thought that's what, isn't that what teams of, okay, I won't put that. I almost said something that I will probably regret later. An oyster catcher, like a bird, you mean? Yeah. Poodle. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Nick.
Sarah.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, Sarah.
Well, we're talking about the despotic duo, or would-be one despotic and one would-be despotic, Trump and Farage.
Right.
What amazes me is why anyone would vote for Farage. I mean, apart from the fact that anyone who goes round telling all kinds of giving promises out, I will give you this, I will do that, I will do the other. You go, would you trust them? No. When a politician starts using jazz hands, which is basically what he's doing.
Jazz hands.
I mean, you can imagine him in chorus line now, putting you with a
I
pair of
can't.
shoes on.
I
mean, it's a
cannot.
horrible thought.
No, I can't.
It is a horrible thought. Mind you, it might work on Spitting Image. You never know.
Oh, well, somebody should give him that. So I can't believe that Spitting Image is not a thing anymore. I mean, the comedy just writes itself these days. How is that not on TV?
It should be on prime time, not on BritBox or whatever they're calling it now. ITV X, Y or Z.
Is it?
I think it is.
What, up to date? Current ones?
Current ones, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but unfortunately you have to have broadband. You have to have a broadband smart TV to get it.
I'll tell you why. It's because they aren't prepared to invest in writers. Because the comedy is there, you just have to get people to write it. And that's the problem with British comedy, is they're just not prepared to pay for writers, by which I mean a lot. American comedies, you look at any of the American comedies, whether it's a sitcom or one of those late night chat shows or anything like that, where the guy comes out and he does 20 minutes of comedy and then the guests come on.
Yeah.
People who write that, it's not one person, it's not two people, there'll be 12
the reason why they all love the half-melted spitting image puppet in Parliament. Take your pick, which one. And they go, and whatever these smartphones do because of the technology, because it's all...
Yeah, it fries their brains.
It does fry the brain. And that's the reason why they haven't got a sense of humour.
But that's not the audience for TV programmes. The average audience for, let's say, BBC One is something like 62. The average audience for BBC Two is 65. It's old people who are watching TV, and those old people will have been relatively young the first time around for Spitting Image, and they will come to that programme with a warm feeling of expectation of amusement. So they're winning before they've even started. But I'm assuming that the reason that it is on cable is because they haven't got enough writers.
The other thing is as well, the reason why it's not good, anything like Spitting Image
is, what will happen to SpongeBob? If the sea temperatures rise, what will happen to SpongeBob? I think we're going to have to take him out humanely. And Robert says, you were talking about Paul McCartney being a musical genius. Have you seen Trump telling a journalist that he's a musical genius since he was about 12 years old? No, I haven't seen that, but I can believe it.
I wrote Dark Side of the Moon and A Day in the Life. Paul McCartney stole everything from me.
0345 6060 973. Our growth. Hello, Dennis.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about birds, not pigeons, but hens. Most of the remote White House in Scotland is called Muckle Quagga.
Oh.
It's a giant rock. And I had to send engineers up. And when they came back, they said they were keeping hens. And I said, well, not far away. And they said, no, we made lead boots for them.
Lead boots for hens.
Yes, to stop the hens going away. If you believe that, I don't know. Can I tell you something very interesting?
Well, I don't know. Can you?
Yeah, I'll try. 23rd of this month, I'll be 82.
82 years old?
So, and 18 years I should be 100. And guess what? I'm only 66 kgs and I can run for a bus. That's when there is a bus, of course.
Well, that just seems like poor timekeeping on your part, if you have to run for a bus. You want to get yourself a watch, mate?
This is Scotland, we don't have a whole lot.
Right, okay. Just get it comes when it comes, yeah, okay. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Dennis. 0345 6060 973. Sam says, just watching Donald's birthday parade. At the moment, it looks like they're under COVID restrictions. It's absolutely pathetic so far. He looks bored. I'm hoping Melania remembered to pack a colouring. He looks bored. I couldn't be more delighted. Chris says, I bought some shoes off a drug dealer this morning. I'm taking them back because I've been tripping all day. I've been tripping all day.
Want to score some pie?
Yeah, no thank you. Just say no thank you, kids. I mean, good manners don't cost nothing, do they?
Be polite.
0345 6060 973. Hey, remind me to do the thing about the door. I mean, in this week, with all the other stories swirling around, you might have missed this. The thing about the door. Meanwhile, a call in Tooting called Jan. Jan.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Nick.
Yes,
Hi.
Jan.
Well, I've been waiting. I'm ringing up to speak in defence of pigeons, but different types of pigeons.
Good luck with that.
I just wanted to ask you, because I've come across this. I've recently come across drinking. I'm not going to say the name of the blend. I mean the name of the product. But this is something I wanted to just ask you if you've ever tried a certain type of coffee, because I've recently discovered a coffee, instant coffee with finely ground coffee added to it, which has a slightly different flavour to just,
Well, let me ask you this.
Oh, no, Nick.
No, let me ask you this.
Yes. No, I haven't tried mushroom coffee.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you this. Does it taste like coffee?
Yes, it does. It smells quite nice. It's better than just the what do you call it? The instant coffee.
Instant coffee. Yeah, but
Yeah,
why would you? I mean,
coffee beans in it.
how busy are you, Jan? I mean,
No.
really, do you not have a couple of moments just to grind some beans and put them in a pot and pour some wait a minute.
To find out. Oh, yes, sorry.
Wait a minute. And pour some not quite boiling water over the ground beans, and then just wait a couple of minutes. Then you'll have a delicious pot of coffee.
No, I used to do that, but I tried this new thing. But I just was reading about what do they call them? Generation Zers or whatever are into drinking mushroom coffee, and have you tried anything like that?
I think somebody gave me some mushroom coffee, or I came across it somewhere.
Pretty healthy.
I don't care.
No, I don't like the sound of it, too. I was trying to find out what sort of mushrooms were in it or whatever. But anyway, I rang up to speak in defence.
Jan, if you ever go to Glastonbury and somebody offers you some mushroom coffee, warning, just say no.
I just wondered if you tried it because it's supposed to have health benefits.
Yeah, or if you say yes, cancel all of your appointments for the afternoon. All right.
Yeah, Nick, listen, I got quite upset about you. I'm speaking in defence of pigeons, not the feral pigeons that are in towns and cities that have that they call rats of the air, but the beautiful ones like the wood pigeons. When you see them, I'm on a wildlife watch this month for this a special wildlife watch. Yeah.
What's special about it?
Well, no, it's just like the Wildlife Trust are saying that let this be a month where you're maybe meditating on nature a different way to you might usually do. But
you don't sound like the kind of person who meditates.
well, I do actually.
Do you? You can make your mind still enough to meditate.
Yeah, through breathing thing. I was taught by Buddhist monks.
To do what?
Meditate.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't think up about that, Nick.
That would not have been my guess. If I had to guess, that would have been at the very bottom of my list, that you have been trained by Buddhist monks to meditate.
Well, maybe I'm not a good example of it because I'm very stressed at times and I have to do extra.
Oh, you're making me stressed just talking to you. Yes.
Nick, about these wood pigeons, they're very graceful. I see them when you might have them in your garden, but then they're not like the feral pigeons. They're very healthy.
Well, this all sounds racist to me, Jan.
No, but also they're related to doves.
They're related to what?
The wood pigeon, not the feral pigeons that you find in the towns and cities.
Racist.
The wood pigeons are related to doves. They're part of the same dove family.
Doves. Right. Yeah, those doves.
Yeah.
Got it.
Also, Nick, the homing pigeons are the ones that are the most fascinating ones because they've been used for thousands of years since Egyptian times to send messages.
Yeah, but how do they know? How do they know what address to go to?
Well, they're homing pigeons.
Yeah, but
So they
oh, you take them to an address and then you let them go and then they find their way home.
And then they come back,
some sort of magic.
They've got amazing abilities.
Yeah.
And actually, since the Egyptian times, Roman times, but in the Second World War,
yes,
they
I know they won the war for us. But let me ask you this: can they eat a dog's vomit?
They don't need to. They tend to be well kept and fed.
Well fed.
Because they're really.
But it might be a delicacy to them. You just don't know.
They're homing pigeons, and they're usually kept and treated well. And carrier pigeons, look, there's some of them were even awarded medals. Whether the doves, the pigeons would know.
That's just
that
silly.
They've been given.
Yeah.
No, but in 1941.
Yeah, I know, I understand. Yeah, but they were given medals. It's absolutely stupid that they were given. Listen to me. Just take a deep breath, Jan. Like you were taught. Remember? Yes.
Radio 410.
Absolutely.
Breathe in for the count of 4, hold it for 4, and breathe out for 10.
Okay.
So you're getting all the stale air out of it.
Try that. Breathe in for 4. You can't do it, can you?
Just saying how
I don't know. Those Buddhist monks who taught you have got absolutely no idea what they're doing. You forgot everything you learned. Take a deep breath. Count to 4. Hold it. Hold it. Keep holding it. I think I need to. I think I need a lie down and a cold compress. Get one of them Buddhist monks in here right now. This is an emergency. Thanks a lot, Jan. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on WhatsApp, then it's the same number as the phone. It's 12:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Tim Daly.
Israel says its forces are striking targets inside Iran again after intercepting missiles. Already tonight, officials have claimed at least 14 Israelis have been injured. President Macron of France is due to visit Greenland later on today after President Trump threatened to take over the island. He's going as part of a show of solidarity. And new figures this morning are showing more than 17,000 ScotRail trains were cancelled last year. The Scottish Liberal Democrats are releasing the data after submitting a Freedom of Information request. LBC weather, more rain, some of it being heavy and thundery in parts of Scotland overnight, but dry and clear for the rest of the country until dawn. We'll see a low of 11 degrees.
This is LBC.
Bring your pensions together into one easy-to-manage online plan with PensionBee. Because when your pension is in a good place, you're in a good place. When investing, your capital is at risk.
Think of a breakfast muffin with sausage and egg. Yep, that's the one. You can see it, can't you? Deep in your mind. Sausage, egg, cheese, muffin. I don't even need to say its name, do I? Breakfast done properly. Served until 11 a.m.
For me, summer's all about my friends. And whether you're texting a pint emoji to your mates the moment the sun's out, or pin dropping the very best spot on the beach, with 99% coverage across the UK, however you want to connect with your friends this summer, Vodafone has you covered. Connecting friends this summer on Vodafone, the nation's network. Vodafone UK, supporting the nation since 1984. 99% of the UK population coverage. Verification, vodafone.co.uk/network.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
This is absolute tosh. I must do the story about the door before I leave. You'll have to remind me. Meanwhile, Paul says, I just spat my cider when you said that most of the route for the London to Brighton bike ride is downhill. Do you think that most of the journey to Birmingham from London is mostly uphill? If yes, do you also think that the trip from London to Bristol is mostly on the flat? I'm concerned that you may have only ever looked at an ordnance survey map and not a topographical representation. Please don't turn a London A to Z on its side, because the Thames might wash away Westminster. I do believe that he's being rude. Let's have Doncaster. Hello, Martin.
Just bringing up about music. I went to Manchester on Thursday, and we saw Lionel Richie.
Really?
It was, honestly, Nick, he was amazing.
The thing with Lionel Richie that people can't forget, because you concentrate on the few hit like Dancing on the Ceiling and stuff like that, he has had so many hit songs. It's amazing, like a hit song factory, that man.
Well, it came on late, Nick. At 9:10, crowd was just starting to blow up the album, and then 9:15, the lights went down, and then the stage lights came on, and it came up to the stage with smoke and that, and then for the next 2 hours, Nick, honestly, I'm still on that high tonight. You know what I mean?
Did he do Brick House?
Yeah, he did Brick House. Yeah, he did Brick House. He did all of them. And just the job a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the music, it's the people you meet when you go to these concerts. Everybody's happy. And you know what he said to my end at night? Obviously, like, all these wars are going on, and he said, why can't people just get on?
Why can't people just get along? That's right.
We go out these shows at end at night, and we enjoy ourselves, and then you look what's going on all over the world. And it's right. You know what I mean? It's only words, but it's right.
Well, the music is the thing that sort of transgresses, or transgresses, it goes over all barriers. And it's sort of the international language of, well, not love exactly, but it's an international language all on its own. It sort of speaks to people on a level that nothing else does.
It's very powerful. Like, honestly, Nick, if I could say something, if he ever got a chance to go and see him, I'd say go.
How much were the tickets?
To be honest, we had a right result, Nick. We paid. Well, I went last year to Cold Life and went to see that, and we paid about £90. And this year, I wanted to get a different view at concerts, so I paid 65 each. And then about a week before concert, we got an email saying you've been moved because they weren't. I didn't understand why, because I'm not very good with technology. And then, because they weren't full out, they shut some stadium off the top row.
Oh.
But they were.
So you paid for the cheap seats, and then they stuck you up the front.
Oh yeah, we got his seats were probably about 150 pound seats in end. We had a right.
That is so much, though, isn't it? I mean, you have to sort of pause and think about it, because it just becomes accepted that that's how much stuff costs now. But that is just outrageous, isn't it? When I saw the Who, I mean, it's something I mentioned earlier on, and I do go on about this. I'm aware of that, but the second gig I ever saw was the Who, the sensational Alex Harvey Band, Chapel Whitney Streetwalkers, Little Feet, and the Outlaws, all on the same bill, and I think it was £3.
Yeah. It was like, I was talking to a lady the other night when we got back home, so we had a little drink with some people. We not met, but everybody being called there. We had a proper good. We stayed out about, in Oldham till about 3. We had a brilliant night. We told people about what concerts they'd been to, and this lady said she got 3 bottles of cheap wine, £110.
Well, you said cheap. That's not cheap. That cheap wine costs a fortune.
Yeah, we want double vodkas and coke and a pint of lager. We were paying about 25 quid a round for 2 of us.
Well, that's South Yorkshire prices. That is. Don't think that will be like that if you ever come to London, Martin.
I know, but I tell you what, honestly, Nick, if you ever get a chance to go and see him, go and see him. The presence he's got.
I'll see you up the front. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Martin. 0345 6060 973. Natasha says, hooked with the teaser, and now I know more about duck reproductive behaviour than had previously occurred to me to research. Thanks for such an educational show, says Natasha. I think she's being sarcastic with the thank you, but I appreciate it. And on that subject,
I am very sorry.
Yeah, very sorry.
Screwed up. I am so sorry. You know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
I am very apologetic for that whole duck issue. Cumbernauld. Hello, Andrew.
Good evening, Nick. How are you doing tonight?
Yes, very well, thanks.
Vocal. You wanted a definition of vocal.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a wee person, possibly of indeterminate or undesirable.
A wee person?
The little people.
What, like that?
Yeah, just a vocal's just a wee person in Scotland.
Right. Now, you don't mean small, do you? Like height-wise, or do
no,
you?
We're not talking.
Insignificant person, you mean?
Insignificant little person, yes.
Right. Like a pipsqueak?
Yes. And Trump going to Prestwick, or putting US military flights through Prestwick has got more.
Has he?
Yeah, first presidential term, when he owned Trump Turnberry at the time and still does.
Yeah.
And he made sure that a lot of US military flights were routed through with stopovers at Prestwick. And there were various American military people just happened to avail themselves at taxpayer expense, allegedly, of the facilities at Trump Turnberry.
Right.
So it's not a coincidence that he's going for there as opposed to any other airport or airfield that he could theoretically go to.
I had heard something to that effect, yes, that he tends to do just exactly what you've described. He'll send his people to a location oddly near one of his hotels or golf courses, you know.
Yes, it's a little bit on the side for him, isn't it? A little bit of a side hustle for him, and what you would think is his main job.
Yeah, amazing that he feels he needs to.
I make $400 million a year, so what difference does it make?
Yeah, what difference do you think it would make? But apparently it does.
I saw something I don't think I'll be able to unsee in a hurry.
Go on.
Nadine Dorries posted a picture on her Facebook of herself in a bikini.
Well, she wrote a column about that in the Mail, and there was a tiny picture that you just described above it, and I zipped by it as quickly as I possibly could in order to spare my eyes.
Yeah, it was one of these things that you'll probably want therapy afterwards.
Yeah, it was because she's another one of these celebs on these fat jabs, right? And I think that's the reason that she wrote that column. Says, I mean, the amount of ink and acreage that has gone on these fat jabs, all of these people that didn't have, an ounce of self-control, because it's just they just make you not eat, right? It just takes the lack of self-control and gives it to you like a magic trick. It doesn't increase the metabolism of the body. It doesn't make your body burn fat more. It just makes you not want to eat. Have I got that right? I think I do.
Possibly. I could probably do with some of them myself, but as a kind of thing, whatever underlying issues you have are not going to be solved by the jabs.
Yes.
Whatever is affecting you, you're going to have to address that. It's not give yourself a jab, and that's why most of the people that go on a diet, if they're really, really strict about it, they can lose weight for a bit, but then when they come off the diet, guess what happens?
But it also makes you obsessed with food. If you go on a diet, you're just thinking about food all day. How many calories are in a pea, like for instance, and you have an unhealthy relationship with food because you're just thinking about it all the time. But I think that's probably why these things are successful, is it makes you not think about it while you're also not eating it.
Yeah, but then when it stops.
Yeah, that's right.
I now have permission to go back to what I was doing, and guess what happens?
Yeah, it all comes back on again. Yeah, you're going to have to do it for life. I think the only way to really not put on weight, or to not be overweight, is to not put it on in the first place. Because your body gets used to it, and it always wants to be that new, bigger weight.
Yeah, and if you have other issues, are you self-medicating with chocolate? Is that the problem?
Yes.
If it wasn't that, it was going to be something else.
And I don't want to give you any false impression here. I have absolutely no idea what I am talking about. But it just occurs. It just seems to me that's probably true. As soon as you've reached your ideal weight, you're going to have to keep taking that stuff, because otherwise you're going to start eating
106 UK accounting professionals. Verify at quickbooks.co.uk/verify.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
We are running late. Richard says the royal family is the UK's biggest asset. I live in Asia. When the King visits overseas, the British Embassy will hold a reception party. Businessmen it's a way of networking for British businesses. From that, billions of pounds of business deals have been made, says Richard, who's just totally making that up. It's absolute nonsense. I mean, it might have been true-ish in like the 1940s, but we've got telephones and the internet now. Networking. Are you talking about? It's the same kind of argument as people say, oh, well, we've got to have the royal family, and it doesn't matter how much they cost us, because they bring in the tourists. That's not true either. And I can prove it, as I have done many times on this show. Plymouth, hello, Julie.
Hello, Nick. Lovely to have the joy back tonight, thank you.
Pleasure.
I needed it.
Happiness.
Happiness, yeah.
usually isn't.
Do you think so, Nick?
Yeah, I do. I think that right now is probably the best time to be alive in the history of humankind.
It's a very bold statement there, Nick.
It is. I can back it up if you like.
With what, bro? What makes you think that this is such a great time to be alive?
Well, we have... We're just old enough to experience the technological revolution as far as communication goes. So we've got the internet, but we're young enough to be able to figure it out, as opposed to if we were 100 years old, then it might be a bit of a strain. But we also have we have been the beneficiary of enormous technological breakthroughs as far as medical care is concerned. Most of the people that used to be dirt poor and living in absolute abject poverty in this country have been lifted out of that. I mean, there are still poor people, but not poor like it used to be. You know, you only have to go back a couple of decades and see how people used to live. And, you know, they'd have one room with 6 kids, and the bath would be in the room, and they would have to heat the dinner, which would be porridge, on a stove that they light with, they keep lit with
kerosene gas fire.
Yeah, exactly. So right now is the best time to be alive.
Well, do you know what, Nick? I'll say a few points for that. I'll say the thing that alarms me is, you know, when I was a child, Nick, I saw a lot of children playing out on the street.
Yes.
You know, in any area, you just would drive past and kids playing football, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't seem to see that, Nick.
Well,
and I always wonder, where are the children?
Parks are better than streets, so maybe they're there. You know what, Jason? I've got to go, but thanks for that. Ian emails, images show Trump not wearing a military uniform at the 250th parade. Bet he wanted to. He will. It's on my list. Andrew says, I find all the Reform UK men are just creepy. They give me an old boys club vibe. I have no idea what that means. James says, I've heard your usual receptionist is at Le Mans, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I have no thoughts on that. But coincidentally, I did just buy a Le Mans poster to stick on my wall, which is just, you know... I mean, how many times have I had a conversation about Le Mans with anybody in my entire life? None at all. And then my usual glamorous assistant piped up, oh, yeah, I'm going to Le Mans. Just bought a poster. Right, let's do the door thing. The House of Lords has spent nearly £10 million on a door. What? A front door. £10 million. Can you believe that? But it's worse than that. Because the House of Lords has spent nearly £10 million on a front door that doesn't work. Oh, no. Despite the door costing £10 million, and I don't mean a door in a building that costs £10 million, I mean the door itself costs £10 million. A member of staff needs to be by the entrance around the clock to press a button that opens the door. They wanted a self-opening door, but they got a manual door instead that you can't operate manually. You've got to have somebody else do it for you. £10 million, which makes as much sense as anything else I've heard lately. This is the House of Lords. The Lords authorities have refused to give figures on the spending for months, arguing that doing so would help terrorists plotting attacks. You've got to be kidding me. I mean, I think the terrorists probably know where the doors are. They'll be like doors. The leader of the House, Baroness Smith of Basildon, said... She said, it is completely unacceptable that we have a door that does not operate as it should. She said, it is important that we are secure, so the costs of the door are very high. It's not just the security issue, but also the heritage issue. The initial estimate was £6.1 million for the door. I mean, didn't somebody say, hang on a minute, at that point, when it was only £6.1 million for the door? And that increased because it was the request of members that it should remain open during the duration of the works when the House was sitting. So it cost an extra £4 million just to keep that door